And then June 10th, I got a podcast coming out about my dad, who was a conman.
Love that. That's awesome.
I've listened to the first episode. It's incredible.
I mean, that's insane. We've talked about it before. We've been friends for years, obviously, and we're basically going to do a better version of a Pod Don't Lie episode right now.
Yeah.
Because remember, we had you on. We were just talking about it, and it's insane. Like, your father's it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it started back in the 90s where he and I, we went to probably over like 50 games where I would impersonate a Sports Illustrated for Kids reporter. He would impersonate a Sports Illustrated for Kids photographer, and we just get into the garden completely for free.
Wow.
So, and so we wouldn't have tickets. Then I go into the locker room after the games and interview players. And I met Jordan. I met Morril Lemieux. I was at Rangers.
That's your favorite hockey player ever, too.
Yeah, Morril Lemieux is my favorite hockey player. I was at, the Stanley Cup for 3 of the games. It's at Glass for Game 7.
And Gracie Mansion for the Stanley Cup. He went to the fucking party.
Yeah, my dad didn't. So my dad, after getting into all this stuff, he never stopped. It was like he would always just push it to the limits where,
of course,
after going to the game and having access, but we went to the after party after the Rangers won the Cup, and then when they celebrated at Gracie Mansion, and he got past the mayor's security detail.
He was at the Jordan double nickel game.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude.
so 5th game back at the Garden, and I mean,
that's crazy.
Packed with celebrities, and then that was one where the real Sports Illustrated for Kids guys were actually at the game.
Oh, what happened then?
So they didn't have a kid. They never used a kid reporter. That's what's also like part of the genius of my dad. It's like he didn't even check to see if like they actually used the kid, but it also didn't matter because people just believe what you tell them. If this guy.
Yeah, looking back, it's kind of weird to be like, that's a guy and a kid.
Yeah. My dad would also say that he wasn't my father too, so it would be like he was just a random photographer.
That's way weirder.
I think that was so weird. I would ask him, and this is
you can hear the rest on Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon doc about Gary.
If Gary was a better actor, he's definitely getting molested as a kid. His dad is definitely selling him to Nickelodeon. Good thing you couldn't read lines, couldn't memorize lines.
This is how sad. This is how sad it was with my dad. Where it got to the point where we did this at so many games where it's like, can you just please say that you're my father? Just because I'm like, and that's just like one of the saddest things. Aside from us never sitting together at a game.
You never sat together?
He would be
taking photos, right?
He'd be taking photos, so he'd be sticking his camera through the glass at the games, at the Ranger games, or he'd be on the court. And I'd either be up in the press area or like I'd have like a great seat. Like,
so he's just like, all right, Bucko, enjoy the game. Oh, yeah. Don't get abducted.
No, exactly. I'm between the ages of like 9 to 13 when I'm doing this stuff, and I'm walking around the garden by myself at the end of every.
13 was the end. He wasn't cute anymore. It's like any child star.
Yeah,
they hit puberty and we're like,
this isn't gonna work.
Not
anymore.
as good. Yeah. Damn, dude. So. That's so funny that the actual Sports Illustrated for Kids, that is so true that it's like, it's a kid's magazine. It's like, you go to a pediatrician, the doctor's not a child. Like, it's like, why would it be a kid report? I mean, I guess they do like the fun little video segments, but that's video. It's never, you don't want a child to take notes. So it's so funny.
But he did do the interviews though. He did.
Yeah, so we actually, we went through with it. We kept up with the appearances. So I would actually interview each player, and I would interview Michael Jordan, and I had a recorder. Unfortunately, we lost a lot, like the recordings and stuff. But a lot of times I would
pawned it off.
Yeah,
Your dad pawned the recorder
Who knows?
off.
I mean, he was always up to something. When I interviewed Morril Lemieux, we videotaped it. So who knows what happened to those tapes? But the podcast, it talks about the con, and then it goes deeper than that because after when I was about like 15, I stopped talking to my dad completely. Yeah, and so for 24 years, he and I haven't spoken. Wow. And the podcast picks up where I just had a kid, and I start thinking more about my dad and like this great thing that we did at the Garden.
You had a kid. He's like, I got to get back to this grift.
He's like, Dad, how did you get him to listen?
I'm like, he's like, how'd you get him in? Yeah. And then the podcast picks up with me basically on like the search and find out mission. Why did my dad make these decisions that he made? Because we haven't talked in 24 years.
Wow, dude.
I try and go find out where he's at, and that's
interesting.
10 episodes.
We were telling this story to this production company, and Gary's like, I met Bill Murray, I met Cindy Crawford, and they're like, sounds like he was a great dad. We're like, well, he left.
Yeah.
He wasn't a good person. He did cool shit for him.
Yeah. Also, but it was like a lie and a crime, and based off of
Yeah, this was like the nicer lie that he had. Like, you know, this
you
is
weren't
where
allowed to tell people in school.
Yeah, I couldn't tell people.
I mean,
it's
a weird thing to get those
opportunities
and those pictures, and he couldn't tell his classmates.
Yeah, couldn't tell anybody, and then
you're the kid's like, I know Michael Jordan. They're like, shut the fuck up. You don't know Michael Jordan.
Him last night.
I just asked him what his favorite type of pasta was. He said macaroni and cheese. Like, shut the fuck up, Gary.